At Minds and Money London, I'm with Ross Beaty, founder and chairman of Pan American Silver Corp and Alterra Energy. So Ross, talk to us about some tips you may have for mining companies.
How do you build a mining company? In 3 easy steps. How do you invest in a mining company? You know, you bet on management. You try to build a good, strong management team, so investors like that. You find great projects that are big, and you don't waste your time on little things. And you try to stick to a plan. Figure out a good plan that's easy to communicate and is achievable.
Right.
And then you put your head down and try to do it. So in 1994, I started Pan American Silver, and the focus was to build the world's biggest and best silver mining investment and silver mining company. And 20 years later, we're the second largest in the world now, and it's been a great run.
Amazing.
And we've really delivered, I think, on the mission that we set up with Alterra Power. It was a clean energy company I started in 2008, and I wanted to deliver to investors a pure focus on building clean energy from wind and hydro and solar and geothermal power that would replace dirty power. And we started from scratch, and now we're a pretty decent sized company. We have 8 operating plants, 3 hydro plants, 2 geothermal plants, a couple of big wind farms, and a solar operation. So it's a built company now. We're kicking out our first dividend this quarter, and I'm very proud of having done that. We've got a long way to go still. We're still trying to build a company, but really what I look for in building these companies is really what I look for as an investor as well. There's no great magic. You know, you want a good, hard-working team of people that have access to capital, that have a simple strategy, that execute well, that don't take people's money and then do something else with it. It's not real rocket science, but it's amazing how few management teams actually do it. It's amazing to me. It's not that hard.
Right. So at Minds and Money here in London, what has the response been like to your tips, to what you've been telling these companies?
Well, I'm here because the organizer Andrew Thig, he massaged my ego, and he gave me a couple of nice speaking slots, and it's a kind of a nice place to come once a year to London. There's lots of investors here. It's a very well-run conference, and I really recommend it to people. He has some fantastic speakers. He manages his time very well. It's a very good conference, and I get to, I really couldn't, I don't get anything out of speaking to other people, but I enjoy hearing what other people are doing. I'm also looking at investment opportunities here. I'm listening to a lot of smart people, and I'm actually meeting a lot of smart people, and that's why I come here.
Very good. Now, going back to your your green turn, why did you turn from what you did in the past to what you're doing now?
Good question. So I started Alterra in 2008, 2009, really because as an entrepreneur in the minerals business, I've started 14 other companies, and I'd sold 12 of them, and I just had done that a lot, and I kind of was. I didn't really want to do a 13th or 14th company. So I started a clean energy company because I wanted to see if I could build a green energy business that could use my expertise in resource development, but also do something that was near and dear to my heart, which is to try to get us off of this dirty electricity generation business of oil and gas and coal, and move into something that I think is really good for the world, long-term, sustainable type of energy, and make money, and make shareholders money. So admittedly, it's been a very tough business, but now we have a pretty solid company, and we're really, we're built for the long term. We have some of our contracts. We just finished building a hydro operation in British Columbia with 40-year contracts. So I can tell you what our revenue is going to be like 40 years from now. Well, that's a very sustainable business. You don't get any of that on the mining business.
Of course,
And it's a nice business. It has pluses and minuses, just like mining does, but it has different pluses and minuses.
All right. Thank you so much. And lastly, what are your tips for maybe people who want to get into that business? What are some challenges that you'd like to kind of warn people of?
Yeah, well, in the renewable energy business, it's a tough business. It requires a lot of capital.
Yeah.
And if you don't have access to capital, it's a very tough business to get involved in. It's also hard to start up in it. I mean, there's a lot of barriers to entry, and so quite frankly, I would I would caution people that it is a difficult business. Anybody can go and stake some ground that might have some gold potential, drill a few holes at very low cost, and find a mine and make a lot of money. That's much, much easier than it is going and getting into the wind farm business or the solar business, where you need long-term contracts, you need a huge amount of capital, you need to have a decent rate of return, and there's so much competition for that right now. Returns are lousy, but they're long-term, and you've got all the normal risks of construction and operation and people, but you have a very different return basis, and you don't have the optionality you get in the mining business, where you can have a mediocre project that all of a sudden the gold price doubles and it's a home run. And you just don't get that in the power business. So it's a very tough business. Hard to get into it.
All right. Well, all the best with Alterra. Thank you so much for your time, Ross.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
At Mines and Money in London, I'm Rachel Lee for Small Cap Power.